Okay, Stranger Things Season 5 official trailer. Let's go! Hey everyone, it's Brittany. This trailer released while I was at work, and I could not wait to watch it, so I recorded a reaction to it from my office on my lunch break. So let's check out some of the reaction and then pop back here for the review. Here we go.
Long last, we can begin.
There's no time for us. There's no place for us.
We're really starting to lose it. Being stuck in here, no end in sight. Maybe tonight is our break. We find Vecna. We end this once and for all. Together.
This isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending. Not this time.
He's planning to end our world. And he's not gonna stop until we're drained of every last ounce of suffering.
Okay.
We stay true to ourselves. Stay true to our friends.
Do it.
No matter the cost.
William, you are going to help me. One last time.
Final season. All right, let's jump back to me at home later today. Whew, okay, so first things first, I am the self-proclaimed resident season 2 defender here on YouTube. So I will be pointing out any and every connection to season 2 that I notice in the promo material that we get, including these trailers, and throughout the season as well in my future reviews that I plan on doing, because I freaking love season 2. It's my favorite season of the show. The Duffer Brothers have also mentioned that they consider it to be the most important season of the show, and they've been suggesting to rewatch season 2 prior to season 5. So I am here for all of the season 2 connections. I am your one-stop shop. And I'm especially doing this in the wake of my video essay in defense of Stranger Things 2, The Unsung Season. Please check that out if you haven't yet. All right, so getting into this trailer. So I have been reading a lot of what people are saying about the trailer online, and from what I can see, I'm actually seeing a little bit of a mixed reception to it. I feel like some people are saying that it feels like we didn't really get a lot, that it's a lot of the same shots we got from the teaser, just maybe extended a little bit. I also read some people who were complaining about it seeming more like a superhero movie trailer, and that there maybe isn't going to be enough character drama this season, but I actually disagree with that point. I actually feel like this trailer is a good indication of some of the character work that we will be getting in season 5, which is a great thing for me. I love that. You know, that's one of my favorite things about Stranger Things. I love the character interactions, that character study drama. I think that this trailer set it up to let us know that we are going to be getting a lot of that. The tone was there for me, I think. Now, as far as the trailer looking a little bit like a superhero movie or a Marvel type thing, I can see that. And if you've watched any of my other content on this channel, such as my Spider-Man video essay, you know that I am not the biggest fan of action movies or superhero flicks historically. So I personally do have some of my own reservations when it comes to that aspect of season 5, but I'm trying to adjust my expectations and go into it knowing that, knowing that there's going to be a lot of action, there's going to be a lot of CGI, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I personally don't really enjoy watching, but I love these characters, and I really hope that the season does a good job of selling all of that action to me through everything the characters are going through. Hopefully I'm locked in and I'm there for the ride. So I'm not too worried about that yet. Everything I saw looked pretty good. I was really excited for this trailer, thinking that we were going to get a really solid idea of where the plot is going this season. I mean, with that final line and confrontation between Vecna and Will, that is something new that has kind of been hinted at. Like, we've all sort of been theorizing that, Will's going to be a big deal again this season. But seeing them interact there at the end and Vecna's line, I think that definitely gives us a little bit of an idea of where the plot is going, at least as it relates to Will. And for our season 2 connections, there is actually a new quote from the Duffer Brothers saying that the key to understanding Vecna's line to Will in the trailer lies in season 2, episode 6, The Spy. Of course it does. But yes, thinking back to The Spy, right? Will is, of course, revealed to be a spy for the Mind Flayer. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff that is very similar to what we saw in season 2. We already know, based on some merch that has been released, that the shadow monster incarnation of the Mind Flayer is back in season 5, which I am so excited about. I'm so excited to see my season 2 shadow monster back on the show. I cannot wait. Of course, they did not show it in this trailer, but he's back. The Mind Flayer in his shadow monster form is back, and I'm so excited about that. I mean, I know he's this evil Lovecraftian horror, but seeing him on some of the merch again just feels like home. Just feels like home. I'm so glad he's back. So because of that, and also we're finally gonna find out, I think, how Vecna really ties into all of this and how Will ties into all of this. And my prediction for that, I guess I'm just sort of free-flowing this video, hitting on a lot of my hopes and wishes and predictions all in one big jumbled conversation here. One of my biggest predictions and hopes for season 5 is that the Mind Flayer has in fact been the big bad all along. That is my hope. I'm not the biggest fan of Vecna as the be-all, end-all big bad. I do remember watching season 4 and feeling like it was a little bit too retconny of like, surprise, it's actually been this guy the whole time. He created the Mind Flayer. He's controlling the Mind Flayer. Gotcha! Like, here's like a new piece of information we're throwing at you in the penultimate season, right? I wasn't crazy about that. Like, literally the scene where they show Vecna creating the shadow monster, I was on my couch saying no, 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 why? I was just, it wasn't It was kind of upsetting me just a little bit because it was starting to feel like, they were recontextualizing my personal favorite season of the show, So I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Why are we doing this? But I feel like there is still time. There is still hope that in the end, Vecna, this is my prediction. I predict that he has been possessed by the Mind Flayer this whole time, similar to how Will was possessed in season 2 and Billy and all of the townspeople were in season 3. But the only difference is that since Henry has always seemed to have this natural inclination for evil a little bit, from at least from what we can see and what we've been told, I think that he sort of just willingly went along with it. Like, yeah, sure, Mind Flayer, I will work with you to help you execute your goals, and I sort of have similar goals, so yeah, let's work together, right? I think that's sort of what it is. It's like a symbiotic relationship maybe between Vecna and the Mind Flayer, but with the Mind Flayer still essentially being the top dog. I hope that comes true, or that it's something close to it. And I also want to point out something I totally forgot to mention in my reaction to the season 5 teaser trailer. There's a shot of Erica whipping out a syringe, and I can't believe I didn't put 2 and 2 together when I was watching it for the first time, but I think that this could also be a season 2 connection. It could be a callback to needing to put people to sleep so that Vecna and the Mind Flayer can't spy.
We need to make Will sleep. What? He's a spy. If he knows where we are, so does the Shadow Monster. He's lying!
Right? So maybe we're putting Will to sleep all the time again. Maybe there are other people who are being possessed and being used as spies this season. Who knows? I don't know. But that was just one other thing that came to mind when I saw Erica in the syringe. So I wanted to put that out there. But that is just one of my biggest predictions and hopes. I hope that the Mind Flayer comes back, plays a really important role, and is still ultimately the big bad in the end. So of course, if you know me at all, it should be no surprise that number 1 on my season 5 wish list is Kali, aka number 8, finally returning in some capacity, even if it's just a small role, just something. She needs to come back. She needs to. And I'm going to say as well, I've already started theorizing other ways that she could be brought back into the fold. I believe a statement has been made that they're going to be exploring Dr. Brenner's office in Hawkins' lab for the first time. That's exciting. And right away, I had a theory. I was like, okay, this is how they can bring her back. This is how they can do it. They're going to be in Brenner's office. They're going to be looking through files. Maybe they find a file about number 8. Maybe she had a connection with Henry that will be revealed in files that they find in his office. Maybe that is why her powers are different and also similar to Vecna's with the mind manipulation and illusion stuff. I just have a theory. I have a hunch. Maybe, I don't know, again, could be completely wrong, but that is just one other way that they could tie her back in. But all in all, yeah, one of my biggest wishes for season 5 is that she returns, because if they don't, it will be a mistake in the long run, in my opinion. And there's another amazing quote from a recent Variety article where the Duffer Brothers are quoted saying that when future Netflix subscribers binge the entire show, it doesn't feel like they dropped a storyline. It all connects. That is something they said in reference to how the show will feel by the time you're done watching season 5. The Lost Sister is like notorious for being a dropped storyline. You know, that is what everyone says in the discourse online, right? People are like, whatever happened to 8? Like, what's going on with that? And someone always replies, yeah, the writers realized everyone hated it, so they dropped that storyline. They dropped her. But now we have the Duffer Brothers saying it won't feel like any storylines were dropped. So I personally can't think of any other storyline off the top of my head right away that you could consider to be dropped, that they would need to return to in season 5, you know, other than just continuing where we left off from season 4. So I feel like that's another pretty big sign that she might be coming back. I have all the faith in the world that she will, that she needs to be brought back in order to fully wrap up the Hawkins lab storyline of Stranger Things. So I do kind of somewhat agree with the complaints that we didn't really get as much in this trailer, at least in the sense of still not having that solid of a grasp of where the plot is going this season. You know, we got a lot of other significant shots that, you know, we can pull up here and talk about a little bit. But for the most part, it is a lot of what we've seen from the teasers and not enough dialogue to really surmise what the plot of this season actually is. They're clearly keeping so much of it under wraps, which I kind of like, you know? So, I mean, we're all pretty much going into the season as blind as we can be, even after watching trailers. So that is kind of cool, although obviously we're all itching for more content. There's definitely going to be a lot to look forward to next week with Stranger Things Day. But let's pull up the trailer here. That looks like the town library in the Upside Down. We got a Demogorgon. And the Demogorgon looks like it's almost like a slave to Vecna. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, and that's something we haven't really seen from the Demogorgons. Obviously, they're subservient to the Mind Flayer and everything, but that almost seemed like, oh, master, like, here you come, walking out. So that's kind of interesting. We got Mike and 11 on top of the WSQK radio station. Love the shot of the tunnels coming back. Season 2 connection. So awesome. Obviously, now we know that the radio station is a hideout. And I think that there's a way to the tunnels underneath the radio station. And I think they're using the tunnels as a way to travel undetected throughout Hawkins this season. That's my guess. So let's keep going. We have Hopper and Elle working together as a duo again this season, which is something we haven't really seen since season 2 as well. You know, season 2 is really the Hopper and 11 team up season. So, you know, this is taking me back to them, you know, arriving at the lab at the end of season 2 to close the gate. So love seeing them together again. That is great to see. Love this scene of everybody around the table. And we got Mike at the center of the table there, totally giving season 1 and 2 vibes there of leader Mike, you know, leader of the party, Mike, everybody listening to him. Obviously, we have 11 flying pretty much this season, which we suspected from the teaser trailer. Yep, shots of Mike and Joyce going back to D&D and everything. I love this quote from Elle talking to Mike saying, "This isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending. Not this time." You know, that's a very sweet moment between them. We see a lot of Jonathan and Nancy in this trailer. I like that, you know? I love Jancy. Love seeing them together again like this. Let's see, of course, we got the Mind Flayer particles. Okay, so technically the Mind Flayer in the shadow monster form was featured, but we did already see this in the teaser trailer, so it doesn't really count. We don't really see him in the spider form. Some good dialogue from Nancy there. That same shot of her washing her hands. This same shot of Dustin and Steve embracing, which leads me to another one of my predictions or something I want to say in rebuttal to a popular theory that Steve will die. No. Can tell you right now, Steve is not going to die. He's not going to die. And I'm going to tell you why. Steve is not dying because, number one, it would be extremely redundant for them to kill off both of Dustin's big brother figures on the show, one season after another. They're not going to do that. To me, it felt like they almost specifically created Eddie and fabricated, in my opinion, this bond between him and Dustin so that they wouldn't have to kill Steve. But they wanted to give Dustin some sort of arc in season 5 related to grief. So they were like, let's create Eddie. Let's, give him a similar role to Steve in Dustin's life and then kill Eddie off so that it can have similar ramifications for Dustin in season 5. And you know what? I'm going to be completely honest with all of my opinions on this channel, by the way. You guys, I'm keeping it 100% when it comes to Stranger Things because I have a lot of feelings about Stranger Things and I'm not afraid to share them. So I was never super invested in Eddie. Didn't really get the hype. I still don't really get the hype. I did not really connect to his character very much. And one of the reasons why is because to me, it felt like a very thinly veiled attempt to avoid killing Steve. And I say, as much as it would suck for Steve to have been the one that died last season, holy crap, would it have been 20,000 times more emotionally devastating for Dustin, and I love Steve. I love having him around, but it does sort of feel like they're not super sure of what to do with his character anymore. They know he's a huge fan favorite, so they have kept him around, and they know that we love his bond with Dustin, so they've kept them around together, But I was rewatching the season 4 finale the other day, and I just couldn't help but think, man, if that was Steve dying in Dustin's arms, I would have been a complete and total mess, whereas I didn't really feel it with Eddie. Yes, it's sad, but I don't know. It didn't hit me as hard as it absolutely could have if that was Steve dying in Dustin's arms. And then I would have been totally locked in to Dustin's grief storyline in season 5 if he was grieving Steve. So let's keep going. 11 again. Here we go. Hopper and Elle. Love that. So this is probably edited out of context. I doubt that 11 is the one that made that ripple effect happen. Who knows? Maybe she was. That shot of Lucas and the Demogorgon in one of the tunnels. We've been teased with that a couple times now. Obviously, I think he's getting out of that. I don't think that they would put this in the trailer if Lucas was going to die by a Demogorgon in this scene. I think he should be okay. But of course, Nancy with the guns. We always got to have Nancy with her guns. Interesting shot of Dustin. Very emotional facial expression here. Great acting. I don't know what is going on, but I'm loving Gaten's performance in that one shot. But see, we have this dialogue. We stay true to ourselves. Like here, what are they saying? Yeah, we stay true to ourselves. We stay true to our friends. Yeah, no matter the cost. I think there's going to be plenty of good character work this season. And I would hope so, because they've also told us that the last 30 to 40 minutes of the season is going to be the epilogue. And I feel like that's going to give us plenty of time to give a proper goodbye and send off to all the characters. So, but yeah, let's go back here again. There is, again, the shot of someone falling into the Upside Down. Perhaps that was Will or Dimension X, whatever that is. The shot of Steve driving the car. I'm part of the camp that believes that there will be some sort of time travel this season. I think it might be a Steve and Dustin centric plot based on a shirt made by the special effects crew that someone found in Georgia and shared in the Stranger Things subreddit some time ago. It's a super cool shirt. I absolutely love the design. It's a clear nod to Back to the Future. Honestly, seeing that shirt kind of made me want there to be a little bit of time travel, because I was like, hey, if it's a Steve and Dustin plot, it's probably going to be awesome. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be time travel. It can just be akin to time travel or evoke the idea or feeling of time travel. But I think we might see something like that, especially since we know that they're going to be talking about, what the Upside Down is. they've left that thread hanging from season 4 about the Upside Down being frozen on the date that Will went missing. So clearly we're going to get a lot of that. And I think that there might be some time traveling involved. If not actually driving in the car to time travel through the Upside Down or something, then at least time traveling through Will's memories of his time in the Upside Down. So let's keep going. Here's where we're getting like a lot of the superhero movie vibes. Lucas holding Max, which he got to be real strong, a radio and Max with a Demodog charging straight at them. I'm sure that they will be fine. Holly helping Karen, it looks like. We've got one more shot of Linder, that's my Boston accent. We put R's where they don't exist. Of Linda Hamilton as Dr. K. Still not entirely sure what her role is. I also theorized that maybe she is aware of the test subjects, of course, I would think. Maybe she has tracked Kali down and has Kali at her lab, wherever they are, and that's where Kali is brought back into the story and reunites with Elle at that lab. Who knows? Again, these are all just my theories. Again, we have the same shot we got from the teaser with these freaking kids. Okay, I can already tell you, I'm personally worried about these kids. This is my only complaint about what we've seen of season 5 so far. This kid right here, Derek Turnbow. I am concerned about him in particular and what his role is actually going to be this season. We know that there is a whole episode called The Turnbow Trap, which is obviously going to be related to him in some way. So I don't know how big of a role his character is going to play. Don't know how I'm going to feel about his character. Also, just the idea of putting new characters into the final season. I don't like that. You know what I mean? I need these OG characters to have as much screen time as they possibly can. As long as this Turnbow character, Derek Turnbow, as long as he can maybe facilitate the development of the other characters in some way and isn't that much of a focal point and is just sort of there, okay, like fine. But if they focus on him a lot and he's there dropping jokes every 5 seconds and whatever, I can't. So I'm hoping for the best with that. This Demogorgon going crazy. We got the Vecna redesign here. And here he goes, raising Will and bringing him over and saying this line of, William, you're going to help me one last time. And there it is. Clearly, Will is looking terrified. I've seen a lot of people point out the parallel and similarity between Harry Potter and Voldemort in this scene from Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I totally see that as well. I kind of subscribe to the belief or theory that Will could be like a Horcrux for Vecna. I don't think Will is going to die. I don't think the show would do that to him after everything he's been through, but you never know. But yeah, so we already talked about that line connecting to season 2, episode 6, according to the Duffer Brothers. Yeah, and there we go. The final season. All right. I mean, I think that's all I have to say. I mean, I honestly talked longer than I thought I would have. I really just wanted to get a few of those predictions and thoughts that I have out there in this video. I also wanted to make sure that I let you guys know that I will be doing live chat reviews and discussions of each volume. I've decided that that's the way I personally have to do it in order to be efficient with my reviews. And I feel like it would work so much better for it to be a discussion with you all. So if you care about what I have to say and, want to discuss season 5 with me, please subscribe, turn on notifications, whatever it is you do, so that you know when I go live, because that is how I'm reviewing the season. I am going live to review Volume 1, going live to review Volume 2, and going live to review the finale. I feel like that is just the best and quickest way that I can do it. There's no way that I will be able to sit down on camera and record my thoughts and edit my thoughts on hours and hours of Stranger Things content and get it out in a timely manner. There's just no way. So I'm just going to sit down, talk about it. I'll come to it with my own notes and thoughts and opinions, of course, and bounce it off of you guys in the chat, and it'll be a really good discussion. And then, of course, those live videos can remain on YouTube as a video. So that's the way to do it, I've decided. So I look forward to that so much. I cannot wait. And again, please check out my video essay all about season 2. I worked incredibly hard on it. And yeah, I just can't wait for the season. I mean, I really can't. It's going to be a crazy ride. My first time, watching Stranger Things while doing coverage of it on YouTube. And that's another thing. I'm probably not going to react to the season in the traditional way that people react, because Stranger Things has become a bit of a personal show for me. I kind of just want to watch the season for myself. If anything particularly crazy happens that I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about, I will probably whip out my phone and just record some of my thoughts in the moment as I go. And then I will thread those clips together and maybe post that for you guys as sort of a form of me reacting to the season. But formal reactions, I can't do it. I just can't. Not only will it take too long for me to edit and whatnot, I kind of want to keep some of it for myself. All that being said, thank you for watching. I will see you in whatever the next video is, which might not be until my live chat review of Volume 1. I don't know. Depending on what we get on Stranger Things Day, I might pop in to discuss some of that. But as of right now, I'd say possibly expect the next time you see me to be my live chat review of Volume 1. Yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.